Hello, so we're trying this new YouTube channel, informational, so you guys can get up to date status on what's going on with immigration. One of the things that's most talked about is the government shutdown. As you know, we went through it for about a month. One of the main questions is how is it affecting hearings? During that month, we weren't having court. So on some of the important cases that I needed to move forward, for the people that had kids that are aging out, that are about to turn 21, people that I needed to submit because the priority date was current, these people are definitely affected just because the rescheduled hearings are not programmed or might not be programmed until 2020 or a 2021 calendar. So definitely there's been a lot of people who have been affected. On the flip side, the people that have been postponed, they will go to the end and the back of the line. So on certain cases, we've gotten a little bit more time to file supplementals, to have just a little bit more time to figure out what's really going to happen. It's been approximately about 200,000 cases that have been affected. So we're still unraveling to see what the consequences of this shutdown will be. But the shutdown is temporarily lifted until February 15th. So if there's another government shutdown, there's still a lot more to follow up. One of the other questions that I've been getting and that I've seen online is that immigration is issuing these fake dates, and I just want to clear it up that it is true. I've gotten some clients that have a notice of hearing to go to court on dates that are either not functional or in a time that doesn't exist. For example, show up to immigration court at 12 a.m. Of course, it doesn't open at 12 a.m. So they are issuing fake dates. And one of the main reasons why they're doing that is because of the recent Supreme Court decision in Pereira v. Sessions. I urge you to read about it on Google. It's this case that suggests that if immigration does not give you a notice to appear with a date and a time printed on it, that it may not be a valid notice to appear. So what immigration is doing now is they're issuing, just putting any type of date and any type of date to try to refrain being caught up in the Pereira v. Sessions. So it's causing a lot of confusion. A lot of people are having to travel to different states to make their hearings when there really is no hearing. So it's a big mess. So for those people that have a notice to appear that does not make sense, you should reach out to an attorney to figure out whether you're supposed to make it to that first hearing. Consular processing, there's been a lot of issues. I know I've dealt with them with some of my clients. The two major issues that are happening with these consular processing cases, and these cases are the ones where the interviews are abroad, is there's been having some medical issues. So these are people that have gotten a positive TB test, tuberculosis test, or people who have been positive for syphilis, or people who have had DUIs in their records that they are then referred to go see a psychologist. What's mainly the issue now is the delays in having to see a psychologist and having to notify you that you need x-rays or follow-up with doctors. It definitely causes the interview to be postponed until you get that kind of treatment. So my suggestion is that if you don't know whether you have TB or any type of other disease that you might not know, or any virus that you got as a kid that you don't know about, I suggest that you do a medical here in the United States, although that medical is not going to be used abroad. But at least you have a backup to either know whether you're positive TB or know whether you're positive in something else where you can get the treatment here in the United States. And at least you've gone over those issues with your attorney prior to submitting yourself to doing these types of processes. Another issue is alien smuggling. So a lot of consular officers are finding an issue with alien smuggling, and those are mainly for parents who have children who are under a DACA status, or children who are born abroad in Mexico or in our home countries and then are living or are listed as living here in the United States. So what the consular officers are doing now is they're claiming that there's alien smuggling. And what that means is that you have helped or have aided your son, your daughter, or somebody to enter the United States illegally. So if you are in that situation, you have a DACA child who has had DACA, or a wife, or have kids born outside the United States that are now living in the United States, you should go over those details more with your attorney, or you can go over that with me. We screen for all of that, and I usually let the client know that there could be some more delays. Usually these officers are asking for an additional waiver to waive the alien smuggling inadmissibility charge, so that could cause a delay of up to a year. So that's definitely something to consider if you're choosing to do the consular processing route, and those other things apply to you. Scheduling delays, that's been happening for a very long time, but now it's up to 4 or 5 months after the consular offices give us the final letter that says everything's been submitted, your affidavit of support, your visa documents are all in, we have everything, we don't need anything from you. From that point on, it's taking about 4 to 5 months for these offices to schedule your consular processing interviews. So I still have people that I filed everything in October, and we still have not received an interview date. But starting this January, I have seen that these offices are rescheduling these appointments. I don't think we have many Venezuelans in our office, but for somebody who has a family member, knows a family from Venezuela, as you all know, and if you've been following the news, there's political turmoil right now in Venezuela. So I have heard that certain appointments have been canceled because of that, and clients have been the offices have been returning their passports. So basically there's an advisement of not being able to travel to Venezuela. So we have at least 1 or 2 cases from Venezuela here in the office, and we most likely have already contacted them to let them know if there's any alternatives. So we can go to another consular office to do their interviews. Another thing is paroles. One of the major things that I saw this week is that certain people don't know that parole in place is still a viable option for most people to stay inside the United States. And parole in place is basically if you have a family member, a spouse, or a child, or a parent that has that is currently active in the military, or have been serving in the military in the past and are now either retired or they've been discharged. We got a very interesting case this week that he would have done the consular processing abroad if it wasn't for the fact that he let me know that his wife was actively in the military, but then was discharged because she had a baby and she had to she couldn't go through the basic training. We were still able to get parole in place, which is it's basically a document that says that you've been basically admitted into the United States. And if you've been admitted, then the green card process is done from inside the United States. So if you have any of these family members, please make sure that you say that to your attorney, or you outline it, because that could really make a big difference in what kind of process you're going to be dealing with. And it works, as it turns out, even for a family member who's not currently serving in the military, and so long as they've been honorably discharged and not dishonorably. So that's one of the things that I would suggest to really screen for, and to really be outspoken about. Even if you think that it might not apply to you, please speak up, because that may make a really big difference. So next week we're going to have 5 other points and other things that are happening for that week, and then later we can do a little bit more in-depth processes or details of what you might be interested in. So we'll see you guys next week.